Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another round of sound. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Bob Pompeani, and we have a lot to get into tonight. We'll talk, of course, about the Penguins, who lost a game last night after a terrific comeback the night before. They have some issues we'll get into, most notably shorthanded goals. But the #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown will be the Steelers and their offseason, which started a lot earlier than people had thought it would. Here's your panel to discuss these topics tonight. Left to right, Mark Kaboly, Steelers beat writer with The Athletic. In the middle, Mr. Ron Cook, outstanding columnist with the Post-Gazette, part of the Cook and Joe Show, 93.7 The Fan, and Jeff Hathhorn, the sports director, up at 93.7 The Fan. So we'll start right into this now. Antonio Brown continues to be the topic. He was on Instagram smoking a cigar with Ocho Cinco, trying to get more advice, I suppose. Not sure what that was all about, but he still, to our knowledge, has not called the Steelers, which continues to make this something that everyone nationally is watching. So, Mark Kaboly, let's start with you. What is the most logical way this will end up for the Steelers and Antonio Brown?
Well, you know, a couple of days ago, I thought there was still an out. Even when Art Rooney came out and said that he doesn't expect Antonio to be on the roster by August, I still thought there would be a chance. And I told Andrew Filipponi on his show that I thought there would be a chance. I'm thinking about it now. There is no chance he's going to be on this roster right now. So they're going to have to trade him, and it's going to have to trade him almost immediately because we see how this is happening. We can see how this is, what road it's going down. It's just going to continue to build upon itself. It's going to be somebody saying something here, Art Rooney saying something here, a player saying here, on social media, and it's just going to be absolutely toxic. So that even if it does cost them a little bit in the trade negotiation power, they have to get rid of this guy almost immediately. If not, it's just going to drag on. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. And even, I will guarantee this, I don't know if any of you are going to agree with me on this one, even when they do trade him, it's not going to be over. He's going to come out, he's going to spill his beans to the world, and it's not going to be pretty. So get it over with now, get rid of him. I don't think there's any chance that this can be saved at all. And at one point, I thought it could be.
Well, you judge a man by the company he keeps, right? And look at the company he's keeping recently. That tells you enough about Antonio Brown right there. They went through the Le'Veon Bell situation. They thought they could control it. They thought it was a situation that they could maintain because they're the Steelers. They'll find a way. They've got a strong enough locker room. And you hear them talk about them being the Kardashians and worse than any reality show out there. It was an issue. They're not going to let that happen again. It will be a big impact on the field, but they have to get rid of Antonio Brown. As tough of a decision that will be on field, they can't have this circus 2 years in a row.
Yeah, what my understanding, Mark, they can't trade him till March 13th, right? So they can't do it today or tomorrow. I anticipate him going in mid-March, too. Art Rooney basically said that to Jerry Dulac the other day. He let himself out saying, as we sit here now. But my understanding is the teammates don't want him back. They're really ticked the way he blew them off the last game against Cincinnati. Then shows up and expecting to play, and he wasn't suspended. He got benched, which means he got paid. And I was told by a couple of players, we have to work and play and we get paid. He doesn't show up and he still gets paid. They don't want him back. I realize they all think he's tremendous. I don't think they want him back. I think they're going to get a lot in return for him because he's such a great player, and teams, GMs, owners, coaches all have egos. I'll take him in and we'll get him straightened out. Well, we'll see. Good luck to that guy that thinks that.
Yeah, it's one thing to mouth about your salary. It's another thing to quit on the team. And when you quit on the team and you already do so many things different from the team, you stretch separately from the team, you do all these other things differently from the guys. But when you don't show up for a game, you can't have that back in the room.
No, and that's why I thought the proper move would have been suspending him for the one game. You send a message there, and Mike Tomlin looks better in this whole situation as opposed to just not playing him. All right, let's talk about what you get in return. You guys have generally spoken that you think, Ron, it could be a lot. Mark, you disagree. What would be what you would want if you were in charge, Jeff? Let's start with you on this one, because to me, I want a #1 and a player who can help me right now.
Well,
and I think I can get that based on how talented he is.
You look at the talent, you would think that somebody, Amari Cooper went for a first-round pick. You'd like to think you'd get a first-round and a player, but I don't know. They're aware of the situation. All the other general managers know.
How about if there's a bidding
war?
war? How about if two teams like them both and want to bring them in?
Maybe. And we don't know. It's a big unknown, but you're dealing with a guy who could potentially be an issue in your clubhouse. He's a great player. He'll promise a lot of things. and if you're willing to deal with it, but I think you're going to wait around if you're that team and see as little as you could give up. I don't think it's going to be as much, maybe a first, and I think that's it.
I think they can get a first because, as I said, teams think they'll be able to control them. I almost feel sorry for the guy. I'm starting to think there's really something wrong with him. His behavior has been so erratic, starting with the meltdown at minicamp where he said he doesn't feel free, to driving 110 miles an hour on McKnight Road, to allegedly throwing something off the balcony, to missing meetings regularly, not showing up for work after the Kansas City game. It's been one thing after another with this guy. I'm wondering if there's something wrong with him.
Yeah, he needs to grow up.
Maybe.
He does. He needs to grow up. He's 30
years old. Jeff, when's he going to grow up?
I don't know. I mean, he needs someone in his camp, and he never will, that will tell him the truth.
Right. He needs someone who says, no, you're wrong, and this is what. He'll never agree to that because he wants a bunch of yes people, and they know it too. And that's how they survive. Mark, go ahead.
Here's the thing. I think if he comes back and if he is contrite, if he says, I'm sorry, I'm going to be a changed man, I am not convinced that the Steelers would not welcome him back right now.
I disagree.
Just think about this. And I know that locker room too. They might say something now, but if he comes back and say, okay, I'm a different man right now, I know what I did wrong, I think the Steelers would take him back,
Mark,
but there's no chance in the world he does that.
They've heard. I do think there's a chance. He leads the league in apologies. I've been told he acts like an idiot on Sunday, comes in Monday, sheepish, I'm not going to do it again, I'm sorry, and then does it again. I think he absolutely would. They've heard that story too many times, Mark. They're not going to listen to it.
It's been 8 years like this, Ron. It hasn't been like it's been 6 weeks now. This has been going on for a long time. As long as he goes for 110, 1,300 yards and 15 touchdowns, they are going to look the other way.
The greatest thing about this is the timing. Coming off the New Orleans game, 14, 185, 2 touchdowns, one of the greatest games he's ever had. That's what I get. I don't understand. I just don't get it.
I don't either.
Unless something's wrong with him.
But we're going to continue this because part of the Young Money crew, you might remember, when it was Mike Wallace, Emmanuel Sanders, and Antonio Brown, well, one of them spoke up against Antonio and took a shot at Ben Roethlisberger as well. We'll talk about that and more when we continue. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown on KDKA-TV. The #1 Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by #1 Cochran, Go One Better, and by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Have a greater hand in your health.